a whole tank of water over in their booth in VideoRay, the VideoRay booth. Do you know what number booth you're in?
I don't.
It's somewhere over there near the 2100 block, and they actually have a water tank with one of their underwater robots roving around that you can actually sort of play with, and
Can actually control.
you can actually control it from their booth, which is pretty cool. So I was walking by and I saw this. Apparently, they've been doing this for years now, but somehow this is the first time I saw it. But I wanted to talk to Chris on the show and just learn a little bit more about VideoRay and about you, Chris.
Okay.
And so, Chris, would you tell us a little bit about you?
A little about me. I'm the CEO. I'm the CEO of VideoRay. The company is based outside of Philadelphia. We have around 60 employees, and we make people doing aquaculture, people doing renewables and renewable inspections, dam and infrastructure inspections, bridge inspections, tunnel inspections, water tank inspections, anything that you need to see underwater. VideoRay has a solution for.
Okay, so do you rent the robots, or like how do you run them? Do you run them? Your company personnel run them for someone when they need like a inspection done?
It's a great question. We don't. We sell them, but we work with companies that rent them. So we have many partners that basically buy our equipment to rent.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in renting equipment, we could just put you in touch with one of those companies.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So how did you get into this line of work? This is like a very interesting thing, underwater robots.
It's a bizarre story. You have time?
I mean, sure, why not?
Okay, here we go. So I used to work at a company called Bentley Systems. Bentley Systems was a computer-aided design company. They make a product that does it like models offshore infrastructure and things like that. And the owner of the company was bored. Bored. He wanted to start a new company, and he had a friend that was working at Bentley Systems at the time. They had a passion to do exploration. And that exploration passion brought them to some pretty unique places. Right before the company was founded, Bob asked Scott, those were our two founders, if he would be his best man. He was going to get married, right?
Yeah.
Scott said yes. And then he found out that the wedding was going to be at the North Pole.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So he had already said yes. He really couldn't go through and back out of the wedding.
Yeah.
So he said, all right, I'm going to the North Pole. How are we getting to the North Pole, Bob? Bob said, we're going to jump out of an airplane.
Oh my God.
So Bob and Scott jumped out of an airplane at the North Pole. And one of the things that this exploration club did was they explored, but they also dove underneath the ice. And one of the things that they did there that year was they had an underwater ROV from the Shershank Institute that was basically diving underneath the ice. And Bob said to Scott, it'd be really cool if you quit your job and started an ROV company. And that's kind of what happened.
And that's basically what happened.
That's kind of what happened.
Well, that is indeed a kind of crazy story. And so they did the wedding at the North Pole. Everything went as planned. They got married,
and they're still married.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, but Bob left the company. Scott retired in December, and I stepped up to become CEO at that time. I've been with the company since it was founded.
Okay, and when was it founded?
1999. So we've been around going on 24 years.
Wow. So that's a long time to be running underwater robots.
It is.
So what kind of underwater robots must be able to find some pretty interesting stuff. So what would you say was the most interesting thing that one of your robots has ever looked at or found or peered into?
We always get inquiries from treasure hunters, and they're a lot of fun. Normally have no money though, right? Just a lot of just a lot of expedition.
Uh-huh.
But we've done some pretty interesting expeditions. Probably one of the most interesting was to Lusitania, where we got to dive not only on Lusitania, but inside Lusitania.
Wow.
So we went with National Geographic,
Wow.
and we were looking for munitions that they were supposedly carrying.
Huh. Did you find them?
We found 55 caliber shells, but they said that those were standard at the time. Wouldn't be something that they would have torpedoed the ship for.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. So what would you say, so this is the oil and gas business builders. So, we talk about building businesses. That was a really interesting how we got started story.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, if you could look back on maybe a challenge that you guys had as a company as you were growing the business, what would you say?
Our biggest challenge is listening to our customers and understanding what they want, and sometimes understanding that what you have doesn't fit their need, right? So when we first started, we made a really small ROV that didn't have very much thrust.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to actually work inside nuclear reactors. So it's designed to work in clear, still water. And that's not how the offshore industry works.
Right.
So over time, we listened, we developed better technology, more capable technology to go through and better meet the needs of different missions, including the offshore oil and gas industry. One of I think my favorite projects was working with ConocoPhillips on a joint industry project to remove men from inspecting ballast tanks. So we developed a suitcase ROV technology that they could put into a tank when it was flooded, underway, take measurements inside a tank so that people didn't have to go into the tank.
That sounds good. I wouldn't say I would want to be in one of those tanks.
No, not a fun place to be or crawl around in.
No. Well, that's neat. So what would you say is the primary application for your underwater robots in the oil and gas industry?
So right now, we're doing a lot of infrastructure inspection, pipeline inspection. One of the new things is they're building as-built models or digital twins of infrastructure and comparing that to drawings, which is really neat. They can go through and do an inspection of something, capture a digital twin of it, and then compare it to what it's supposed to be to millimeter accuracy.
Wow.
There's some pretty interesting engineering off of it. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, let's see. So how are you enjoying the OTC today? Has it been a good show for you today?
It's nice to see OTC kind of back to, I won't say back to where it has been, but it's nice to see people in the aisles and a little bit of life in the at the show. So
yeah,
it's good to see it come back.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not quite as big. I remember pre-COVID days and having all the equipment outdoors and having overflow into the
rodeo,
into the stadium, and everything, which is not quite there yet or anymore. I don't know, but it is buzzing. It is big, and there's a lot of people here, a lot of booths, people from all over the world.
All over the world, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. So I'm assuming that you sell your robots to people all over the world as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've traveled all over the world, demonstrating and selling the robots.
Wow.
So we've dove on aquaculture farms north of the Arctic Circle. We've dove through ice in Antarctica.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's probably the most rewarding part of our job is getting out to see our customers and not listening to them over the phone or virtually, but actually seeing what they deal with and some of the challenges that they deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty interesting. You've got a very interesting line of work.
We have a fun job. Yeah. They say you have a fun job, it's all good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was downtown. I have a friend that works sort of backstage for large events, like something like the OTC, and he was working on there was a high school robotics competition downtown Houston, and I have never seen so many teenagers running around.
Those competitions are great.
Yeah.
And in fact, we hire kids that participated in those mate programs
Oh, wow.
at VideoRay. It's a
Yeah.
great program.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous because I don't think we had those when I was in high school.
Not me, no.
Yeah, I don't remember that existing, but I would have loved that. That would have been so neat. But yeah, that's really interesting, and sounds like a fun business. And sounds like you guys have a lot of different applications, including treasure hunting. And
Treasure hunting. It's
everything.
the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Buried treasure. You're kind of like, R.
Yeah. Wish we'd find a little more, but yeah.
So I'd just like to also thank our sponsors. I'd like to thank the Offshore Technology Conference for allowing us to be here. And an even bigger thanks to Fifth Ring for sponsoring the OTC Podcasting Pavilion. Fifth Ring is a global B2B marketing and communications agency with over 30 years of experience in the energy sector and beyond, and is located in Houston, Aberdeen, and Singapore. So I'd really just like to thank everyone for being at the OTC. I'd like to thank you, Chris. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Laura.
And I'd like to thank all of the oil and gas business builders for tuning in to listen to our episode here live from OTC.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Chris.
All right, thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your show.
Thanks.